Thank you for joining me. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields, and thank you for taking the time to be part of this weather community. It is for you, so let's get to the spots we're watching. It's really this spot here that I'll be watching throughout the week for development. That's the one we were highlighting together yesterday. Rainstorms throughout parts of the Bahamas, even near the Cayman Islands, and right across parts of Cuba. And then this flare-up, still some heavier rain parts of Texas into Louisiana. Watching out for any signs of development. But this area here, that is what I'm watching very closely. With that said, I have more good news versus bad news to pass along. I always like to let you know exactly what I am seeing, and things have backed off a little bit on development, which I love to pass along. We'll see if this holds, though. In the short term, this is going to be a tropical disturbance as expected, all on track, that will move into the Eastern Caribbean. It's going to bring us a better chance of rain starting tonight, but more so tomorrow and even into Tuesday. So we're going to see that rain chance pick up. Now back behind, here we are in the Caribbean, Dominica, St. Lucia, Barbados, Grenada, Trinidad. It's this area here we're watching. Behind it, not as much. And you see that kind of looks scary, right? Those brighter colors. But I tell you what, it's the angle of the satellite. You see how the satellite image gets cut off here, that it makes it look a little bit worse than it is. So we'll see how that tropical wave does when it comes off. But no other signs of development. It is this immediate area. So let me update this. I like to give you the information right away because I know you got things to do. Don't want to waste your time. Here's the most likely track of this tropical disturbance. So the next few days, right on track from exactly what I was showing yesterday and the day before. So a tropical disturbance, not a named system, moves into the Eastern Caribbean tomorrow and Tuesday. And then Haiti and the Dominican Republic, it'll be just to the south of Puerto Rico as we work our way into Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday, it'll be very close to Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. Now at this point, I'm really not sure, and this is several days away. I'm not sure if it is going to spin up into a tropical storm. A lot of the models hint at that, but some have kind of backed off. They said, hey, maybe this won't develop as quickly. That would be some excellent news. Now here's the thing. Hang with me for a second on this. If this area stays weaker, which is what we want, it would be more likely just to move to the west. So that would bring some rain to, say, maybe Belize, Honduras, the Yucatan and Mexico down the road. If this system near Jamaica becomes a tropical storm and strengthens further, it is more likely to head toward the north in the Gulf of Mexico and become a bigger situation up by the Gulf. So a stronger system, more likely to curl north. Things that spin more will kind of feel those fronts more, get pulled to the north. A weaker entity will just kind of work its way to the west, not really feel the fronts up to the north, and just continue to trek to the west. So while I'm not sure what's exactly going to happen here, I'd like to let you know exactly what I'm looking at. So a stronger system, more likely to kind of spin up into the Gulf of Mexico, weaker one moves west. So what does this mean now? All this stuff. I'm going to get into the three big models in just a moment, but this is what it means. We're just in monitor mode across the Eastern Caribbean, right? Watching out for some areas of flooding. It's not a named system, a tropical disturbance about to move in. Now that means it's also going to be kind of broken. So some of our islands will be like, hey, this was a weak tropical wave, while others may get some flooding. At this point, no signs of development. Now here's a new map to show you. This here, Cayman Islands and Jamaica, we're now in monitor mode just because of the uncertainty of how much this area will spin up. And I'm not going to lose sight that the conditions down the road are more conducive for development. So we're in monitor mode now in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. What does that mean? Well, I'd appreciate it if you would spread the word about this just to get the right information out, because I know there's a lot of stuff out there like a massive hurricane or not at all or whatever. Just want to get the right information out. So Thursday and Friday, there is the possibility of tropical storm conditions. Is it likely at this point? Not quite sure. But there is the possibility that as this area moves near Jamaica on a Thursday, that it would start to develop. Okay, I'm not seeing crazy signs at this point of a major hurricane. That's good. That could change, but I'm not seeing that right now. But we're just spreading the word, monitor mode, not necessarily taking any preparations yet, because I don't even know what we'd be taking preparations for yet, but we're in monitor mode. Now tomorrow we may end up in action mode depending on what I'm seeing, and action mode would mean we start making preparations, and I'd be very specific about what that means. But right now, just please spread the word about the potential of a system nearby, and that's it. All right, so the icon model at this point, which has been the most aggressive model, right? If that was right a few days ago, it would already be a tropical storm. and it's not. I always watch out for those trends in the models, and right now it's saying, hey, this is not even going to be a tropical storm. The American model and the European model yesterday were saying this is definitely going to be a hurricane. Now, more like a tropical depression or tropical storm, and the Canadian model is still saying this will become a hurricane. I am concerned, though, with the conditions down the road, the water temperatures and what's going on above our head. Let me show you that here. This map is super crazy. I know there's a lot of lines, a lot of colors on it, but this is by Wednesday. So this area may be somewhere in here. Point being about this is that out here, you see a lot of blue shading. Here's Jamaica. That means not a lot of wind shear, and that's not good because wind shear are winds that would knock off developing thunderstorms, which is what we want, so things don't really build up and start to spin and all that. But the wind shear outlook is low. That is more conducive for some development. So I am very cautious. I've seen it. We've seen it together over the last few years, how things can spin up quickly. Now here's the icon model that was ever so aggressive. This is by tomorrow. It's not showing a named system. Remember, several days ago, it was showing a tropical storm on Monday. Tomorrow, that is not the case. Keeping an eye on the fronts up to the north here, just monitoring these fronts to see if it wants to kind of help grab this thing and lift it up to the north. This here is by the time we get into Tuesday, and you see by Tuesday, not a named system, but some extra rain will be possible, scattered about Puerto Rico, scattered about back through the Dominican Republic, but I'll show you some other models in a moment. Now, the icon model starts to hint at development in the Gulf of Mexico here. This is by Wednesday. The icon has been off. It's been a very good model this season. Did a very good job with Barrel. Not such a great job with this disturbance. It is really hard to track a system that hasn't even developed, though. Showing the extra rain here by Thursday near Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, trying to spin up something, potentially a tropical storm in the western Gulf of Mexico. And then this is by Friday, showing some of that extra rain. And remember at the beginning of this video, I mentioned if it stays weaker, it's more likely to move to the west, and that's what it would do by Thursday and Friday, just starting to bring some of the rain out of Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, working its way over toward parts of Central America. That's the icon model. Now, the American model is showing some signs of development near Jamaica and then down the road, but nothing too terribly aggressive at this point. But I tell you what, tomorrow we could be doing something different, saying, hey, this is going to turn into a hurricane a little bit quicker. But in the short term, Eastern Caribbean high confidence forecast, not a named system moving in tomorrow. Some areas of flooding will be possible. You see it here, watching some of these fronts up to the north, keeping an eye on some of this moisture from the Bahamas back toward the Gulf of Mexico. There's been some heavier rain parts of Mexico, Costa Rica, and Panama. I'll zoom down in a moment. But this here is by Tuesday. Tuesday, not a named system, but you could see it on the map. You could see the rain and the storms, tropical disturbance moving in. We've done this dozens of times so far this season. And then by Wednesday, you could see the moisture starting to build a little bit more, generally south of Haiti, the DR, and Puerto Rico. And watching these fronts up here, then by the time we get into Thursday, this moisture will be building over toward Jamaica. So either way, for us in Jamaica, we're going to see a higher chance of rain as we work our way toward it later this week. At this point, the American model goes back and forth. Every 6 hours, getting these updates on the American model, and sometimes it's a tropical storm, other times not so much. But it's been keeping it a little bit weaker as of late, trying to develop maybe into a tropical storm or a tropical depression, and then just working its way toward the west. And you see by Friday, that would be some of the increased rain. A weaker system, not a hurricane, would be moving more toward the west. If this were to become a hurricane somewhere in the Western Caribbean, it would lift more to the north. And you see the extra rain here as we work our way, kind of sliding towards Central America and the Bay of Campeche by the time we get into next weekend and into next week. Going way out in time for you here. This is September 9th, showing what could be a tropical storm somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico. So paying very close attention, of course, to what is happening with the system. And I mentioned my concern is that the wind shear is low in here. And I'll show you the water temperatures in just a second. They are super, super warm. So I am this one a little more cautious with, it's okay in the short term, but I am concerned that it kind of does develop quicker down the road. So the European model is very much like the American model. Let me go step by step with this. So this is today showing the rain in over the next day, 2-3 days. Not any development, just that extra rain and that green shading you're seeing right here. So this is by the time we get into Monday, showing the extra rain tomorrow, right? Some spots we're going to see it. Antigua, Barbuda, down through Trinidad. We could see some of those scattered areas of rain, some gusty winds. I'll show you the winds in a second. And then by the time we get into Tuesday, some extra rain possible. U.S., British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Haiti, some extra rain and storms, still not developed. This again, the European model, and then going out in time here, and let me take you into Wednesday. This is Wednesday. You can see some of the increased rain, Dominican Republic, Haiti, and starting to inch its way toward Jamaica. Weaker system will just continue to trek off toward the west. No big signs of development right here in the Gulf of Mexico. This here is by Thursday. We'd have the extra rain by Jamaica by the time we get into Thursday, and then at this point, conditions are conducive for some development, and that's what I am concerned about, that by the time we get into Wednesday and Thursday, we could start to see this starting to spin up and then just feeding off those warm water temperatures and then trying to develop into a tropical depression or tropical storm, moving in somewhere near, say, Belize by the time we get into the end of the upcoming week. This here would be Friday. Now, when I mention a weaker system moving to the west, I don't want to diminish anything. If we had a tropical storm, of course, that would be a problem, but I'm mentioning that the difference would be a tropical storm or something less would move west. A hurricane would tend to move a little bit more to the north in the Gulf of Mexico, and we'd be either way. This is by the time we get into next weekend, watching out for some considerable flooding in parts of Central America. Now, we work our way here. This is the wind outlook based on the American model, kilometers an hour and miles per hour, and the American model's having trouble finding any sort of center in this. There is no center in this right now, so it's just showing some of those gustier winds that will blow in. Winds 50, 55 kilometers an hour, 30 miles per hour, something we can handle, but there will be gustier winds at times midweek, watching that near Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And then as we work our way deeper into this model, just taking out in time, it kind of gets a little bit confused, kind of loses this system altogether. It doesn't show a huge kind of wind outlook in here, but I'm saying this with caution. You see, by Friday, if you just look at this map, you'd be like, oh, okay, things are okay. But I am thinking that things are going to be trying to spin up near Jamaica. I mentioned the wind shear, and here's what I'm seeing too with these water temperatures. We know how warm they are. Look at this, near Jamaica, 31 degrees Celsius, back into the Gulf, back into the Eastern Caribbean. That's anywhere from 85 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So very warm with these water temperatures. So water temperatures are very warm. The wind shear is going to be relatively low, and the heat content very high. That's warm water that goes down deep, and that is a problem near Jamaica. So yes, the models have backed off a little bit, but I watch the environmental conditions. I don't just look at a computer. I watch the environmental conditions, and they are looking like, hey, I don't see reasons why this wouldn't try to develop some in the Western Caribbean. But we've got a day or two to watch it, and that's why we're in monitor mode in the Cayman Islands and Jamaica. Short term, watching some of the rain. Keep me posted today. St. Vincent the Grenadines through Trinidad. Let me know if you have any areas of flooding. Put your location down, put what you're getting. Here is that tropical disturbance that starts to move in. Still watching other areas, Costa Rica, Panama for some of the rain, and again back toward Mexico. Monitoring the Gulf of Mexico for any type of spin up, and we've had some of the flooding. We were talking about that yesterday. Parts of the northern and central Bahamas. Now, this is getting into Tuesday, and you see that rain still near the Eastern Caribbean, starting to bring some scattered showers that will pull into the U.S. and British Virgin Islands and back toward Puerto Rico, even the Dominican Republic on Tuesday. And then by Wednesday, you see this area here, and this is when I'll know by this time if this is going to be trying to spin up into a tropical storm or hurricane. But by Wednesday into Thursday, you see the increased rain that will work its way near Jamaica, and that's when it hits that very warm water, the low wind shear, and of course that high heat content. The warm water that goes down a little bit deeper, that is by the time we get into Thursday, and then we'll see if it's going to develop a lot or if it stays kind of weaker, but I'll have advance notice for you. So monitor mode, Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. Now, as far as the seas go, yeah, they're going to be building northeastern Caribbean, Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla. It's going to be choppier with the tropical disturbance moving in. We'll see that as well. Here's meters, here's feet. See the brighter colors showing the choppier seas near Haiti and the Dominican Republic, of course, on the Caribbean side on Wednesday. And then this is Thursday, showing those choppier seas right through the central Caribbean, and these fronts moving off closer to Bermuda. We'll see those elevated seas as well. So if this does become a named system, the next name on the list is Francine. It was looking certain a few days ago that this would be Francine. Things have backed off a little bit, but we'll see. It's kind of that battle of what the models are seeing and what the environment is showing. So in the Western Caribbean, we could see this trying to spin up into Francine. Short term, still some heavier rain totals. New Providence, for example. Let me know which island you're on. Of course, we've got 700 plus islands across the Bahamas. Let me know what you're dealing with some of this rain. We could see an additional 100 millimeters of rain, or 4 inches of rain. Shorter term, scattered Cuba, Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. If you do get a thunderstorm, 50 millimeters of rain or 2 inches will be possible. Could see some showers and storms, especially a few days from now. So as we work our way into Tuesday, we're going to see that rain chance pick up. U.S., British Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico, and that's reflected here. You see some of those higher totals, and that's why I mentioned that flood risk. My first concern, Eastern Caribbean, we're in monitor mode for the potential of flooding, not a named system, but you can see some of these totals here that some of us over the next few days could get over 100 millimeters of rain or over 4 inches of rain scattered about northeastern Venezuela, back through Guyana and Suriname, and then those heavier totals, Panama, Costa Rica, El Salvador, and Guatemala, western Honduras. We're going to see some areas of flooding, and we've had that flooding, huge totals back through Mexico proper, so watching out for the flooding risk that continues throughout much of Mexico. Things have really taken a turn with the rain. So scattered showers and storms possible in Jamaica. We're not doing anything other than spreading the word, just kind of alert that, hey, there could be a system nearby later in the upcoming week. Same thing in the Cayman Islands. Meantime, 40 to 50% chance of showers and storms, and we'll recap in just a second, but the rain chance elevated in Trinidad and Tobago. It is going to be elevated for us from Trinidad back for us in Barbados, that higher chance of rain. Watching out for flooding. St. Lucia, there is a potential of mudslides on some of our islands with some of the rain if we get stuck in some of the heavier pockets. But like I mentioned, some of us may not get a whole lot, but that rain chance, look at that tomorrow in Grenada, we're at 70%. We're up to an 80% chance tomorrow. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Martinique, the rain chance is going to be higher tomorrow with that tropical disturbance. Dominica, we have a 70% chance tomorrow and a 60% chance on Tuesday, and then this area will be marching its way off toward the west. We do that again right across Guadeloupe, and the rain chance elevated, not a washout, but Antigua and Barbuda, about a 50 to 60% chance of scattered showers and storms for us tomorrow. Same thing, St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat, about a 60% chance on our Monday, 60% chance across Anguilla and St. Bart's for tomorrow, and a 60% chance St. Martin, Saba, and Statia. 50 to 60% chance early in the week. Scattered areas of rain and storms, most of the activity to the south, but as we know, it doesn't take much to give us flooding and issues with the power grid across Puerto Rico. Watching a similar scenario for the British and U.S. Virgin Islands, Bahamas, northern sections. We're still watching out for the risk of flooding over the next few days. Turks and Caicos, about a 30 to 40% chance, and scattered areas of rain and storms across the Dominican Republic. Rain chance will bump up Tuesday into Wednesday right across Haiti, especially south of Port-au-Prince. Belize, scattered areas of rain and storms. All eyes on what's going on to the east, watching that developing a system. And yeah, a few passing showers will be possible the next couple of days. Curacao, Aruba, and Bonaire, rain chance about 50 to 60% in Guyana. It is going to trend down. You see how we're generally on the dry side on Tuesday in Suriname. Scattered areas of rain and storms the next few days across Cuba, Costa Rica, Panama, that higher chance of flooding. Please keep me posted how you're doing. Nicaragua, 40 to 50% chance the next 2 days. In Honduras, including the islands, Roatan, 30 to 40% chance. And even offshore as you get over towards San Andres and Providencia, Guatemala, and El Salvador, 70 to 80% chance. Watching that flooding risk. Same thing in Mexico City. That rain chance has gotten a lot higher. Yucatan, about a 50% chance of some scattered showers and storms. 30 to 40% chance northern Colombia, 30 to 40% chance northern Venezuela, and keeping an eye on some of these fronts getting a little bit closer to Bermuda as we get into the upcoming week. So heavy areas of rain moving in for some of us tomorrow in the eastern Caribbean. That is the first and immediate concern. This overall area will move its way toward Jamaica. I should just say area there, move its way toward Jamaica, where we're going to watch out for any signs of any sort of quick development. So we are in monitor mode, Cayman Islands and Jamaica. And I'll be breaking that down in more detail as we go over the next few days. And this still could eventually become a hurricane based on those environmental conditions. So got you covered right here. Thank you for spreading the proper word about kind of overall what's going on, because it's going to be a busy month. We know that. It is September. It is now the peak of hurricane season. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being part of this weather community, and have a good rest of your day.